As there's a drive in a deep left field by Castellanos, it will be.
Oh man, it's 8 o'clock.
And so that'll make it a.
I don't need the spotlight. I shine just fine.
Hi, I'm Karma, and yes, I am a bitch.
Bravbros. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Bravbros, your favorite podcast from the bros for everybody, for whoever wants to listen. I am your co-host, Steele Russell, joined as always by the one and only Game Day Magoots. What's up, dude?
It's game day, and we are recording early in the afternoon so your boy can get down to the stadium.
Yup.
Because I have some beers to guzzle.
Yep.
And some chants to fire off.
Damn right. You're representing the bros down there today, so It's an important job. You know that I put a lot of emphasis on you when you go to the games. It's important. You're part of the team.
I think what I'm going to do, well, obviously it doesn't really matter because you're going to listen to this tomorrow, but what I might do is throw some questions up for the game, and I'll try to answer them as I can.
I like that.
Yeah.
I really like that. So pay attention to our socials today as you listen to this tomorrow.
Yes, exactly.
Well, I'm super excited for the game. I'm going to the corner, Conchi Corner for life. My neighbor is doing the projector on the side of the house.
Love that.
So I think I'm going first half corner, cheesesteak and wings, crab fries, back home for the second half to watch on the projector.
Perfect energy.
I could not be more excited. This is my favorite time of year. I know we talk about the birds at nauseum, and I'm sure that some of the people out there that do not like football get tired of it, but this breathes life into us and the entire city of Philadelphia.
It does, honestly. Like, I went to get coffee this morning, and it was like a brisk 65 degrees.
Yeah, baby.
Just getting out there. Good shorts and hoodie weather.
Yeah,
Love
baby.
that shit.
I love light jacket weather.
Light jacket weather. It's perfect. That's the funny thing is I go light jacket weather spring. For the fall, I always go like crew neck and shorts.
I'm the opposite. I think this spring, I'm so excited.
You have a crew neck and shorts on right now, but yeah.
That's hysterical. That's actually really funny. But you mean crew neck sweatshirt?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I do
pullover.
crew neck with the long. I don't wear shorts a lot. You know that, nice shorts. I don't wear dress shorts a lot.
No.
But I'm a big light jacket guy, and I think that was because I used to be a thicker gentleman, and the light jacket made me.
Shout out all the thicker gentlemen out there.
Thicker gentleman with 2 C's thicker. Now I was actually probably 3 C's thick. Now I'm 2 C's thick in a strong way. But the light jacket, I could always pull that off regardless of how I felt I looked. It was more of an insecurity thing. We're really diving into it here.
Yeah, no, we're really getting into it. Actually, a good segue from this is, and we're doing current events.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
The prisoner has been caught.
We caught him.
And it was by far the funniest thing. First off, he got caught wearing an Eagles hoodie.
Go
Fucking
Birds.
hilarious. Go Birds. Philly Mag wrote an article afterwards saying it's not funny that he got caught with an Eagles hoodie. Stop saying Go Birds to it.
Pretty funny.
Hey, fun killers, fucking Buzz Killingtons
fun
out there.
Police.
Yeah, losers, shut up. The funniest part of the entire thing was, one, obviously they took a fucking photo op with him, which was sick.
That was really funny.
And then they had, I guess, I don't know if it was the commissioner, because he got caught in Delco, so I don't know what the hierarchy is over there or whatever, but somebody was answering some questions, and one of the questions...
it's the king of Delco.
Yeah, it's the king of Delco, actually.
Yeah, it's Mayor of Easttown, actually.
Oh, yeah, Mayor. That's fucking hilarious. He was up there taking questions about the whole thing, and a reporter asked him, he is a small guy. Was there a worry that there was going to be another small guy that was going to get on his shoulders and then they'd throw a big trench coat over him?
He said like a Little Rascal scenario.
Yeah.
And the guy goes,
the commander was like, no.
I just
Okay.
moved on.
All right, cool. Sick. Like that's the epitome of Philly is there's a killer on the loose that broke out of jail, and we've been making jokes for weeks about it.
But
no one's been worried. Everybody's just cracking jokes. He gets caught with an Eagles hoodie. He basically said "Go Birds" when he got caught,
more or less.
And then somebody makes a Little Rascals reference during a very serious press conference about catching a killer. Like, it's fucking hilarious.
Philly Magazine, that article they wrote, like, it's not funny. Look, no one's condoning murder. Like, I think that's the disconnect here. Like, can the situation be made light of? Yeah, a convicted murderer was on the run for 14 days and they couldn't do shit to catch him. Obviously, we're all rooting for him to get caught. No one's on his team here, but like, Philly's gonna make light of the situation. Barstool Philly was putting up prop bets for it was like to hit the parlay, Vikings lose, Eagles win, catch the convicted murderer. Like that was part of a parlay.
Perfect. I love that.
But the last thing before we dive in, I would be remiss to not mention it. Did you watch Kelsey yet?
Yeah, I did.
This is a free ad all the way.
I did stop though.
before the Super Bowl.
No, I watched up until they tied at 35, and then I turned it off.
Did you? You
Yep.
couldn't go
Can't
through it
handle
again.
it.
Fast forward through it because you want to see the end. The end it's moving.
Yeah,
Just get through.
You're
this,
assuming
get
I
through
want to
it.
be moved.
That's
I was
true.
fired up, and I'm fired up for the game. If I watch the end of that, I'm not going to be fired up anymore.
You would, because it's still like he ends it on a good note. I get it. I do get it because I watched quarterback and I had to watch Mahomes
I stopped before
go
that too.
through, and that was
Yep.
fucking
Stop
brutal.
before that too.
That made me upset. I cried multiple times during Kelsey. I am man enough to admit that. I not like sobbing, just like choked up with like that. At one moment, it was like pride. I was like,
Yeah.
God, like he embodies what this city is to a T, and I was like proud of that. And then at other times, I was crying. He's just it's a moving movie.
There were multiple times where I had to like push through and
Really?
persevere.
You?
Yeah.
Wow.
But it's all, the funny thing is it's all game centric. Like a lot of people are going to say,
Oh, same.
oh
Like,
yeah, everybody's going to say like, the family stuff, and the family stuff was great. Don't get me wrong. But when his wife was crying when he was coming out of the tunnel, I was
dude.
like, fuck me.
Yeah,
Fuck
I was
me.
choked
I don't
up.
know if I'm going to be able to handle this game tonight.
Dev was crying, and she looked at me. She's like, "How are you not crying?" And I was like, I was at that moment like holding back. I couldn't even respond.
Yeah, you can't
to
breathe.
her. I couldn't respond and say like I am or I'm not, because if I opened my mouth, I would have let out an audible like.
I get that. The funny thing is, obviously this is very real and it's a real story. I will watch like fiction and it'll really speak to me, and then I'll watch something real and be like, this is stupid. I don't really care. Like, this isn't getting to me emotionally. Fiction will, but I know what you're talking about, where you get to that point where you could cry,
You're like on the fence.
But like, and it's all about breathing. If you take a breath in, and especially when you're around somebody else and then they're going to look right over, you do that breathing thing where you start to breathe in and it kind of breaks.
You do the short breath.
And it goes, and then you're like, fuck, fuck. And now I'm whimpering. Like, I went from trying to not cry and now I'm whimpering like a little baby. I can't handle it. So yes, no, there were a lot of times where I had to just kind of persevere through it, but I knew that I wouldn't be able to handle the end of the game. You can call us fucking crazy if you want to. We are.
Yeah.
And it's fine.
We care, and the city cares, and that's,
It's a new season.
If you haven't seen Kelsey, even if you're not a Birds fan, give it a watch. I think it's like number 2 on Prime Video right now, which is, it's pretty ridiculous that a lineman gets that much recognition.
Well, it was just the fucking perfect storm. They thought it was going to be his last season, and then it ended up being the best season in Eagles football history without winning a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And it just so happened that he was going against his brother for the first brother-to-brother matchup of the Super Bowl. It's just fucking wild. The entire thing, the way it came together, is insane.
It is. Give it a watch.
But really cool.
It was great. Yeah,
really
it was
cool.
a great documentary. But let's get back on
Now
task
let's talk
here.
about OC and get angry.
Let's do our Rose and Thorn quickly. We're not doing news today, as the news is this: the Birds are playing tonight, so we got shit to do. So we're gonna jump right into our Rose and Thorn. Why don't you lead us off there, pal?
I'm gonna start off with my thorn,
All right, thorn me.
and it's a funny thorn. Last week, obviously, we're in the new studio.
Yeah,
getting a lot of props for the new studio.
Yeah, I like that.
You know how many people have said that they can't hear a word I'm saying because they look over my shoulder and they see Luann's mugshot?
Oh, I've seen a lot of those actually.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
All right, get over it, everybody. Listen to me, all right? I'm good to look at. I'm good to hear.
Good to look
Just
at.
get over the Luann mugshot. It's here. It's here to stay. We're not moving it anywhere. It's a great piece of art that we have back
You're
here.
welcome.
But pay attention to me.
That was a stylistic choice. Yeah,
I'm a pick-me boy, all right?
he needs the attention. He thrives on it. Like when you guys were all jumping on board like the shooter bandwagon, this man was untouchable.
Yep.
He was walking on top of the world. So
Look, I mean, everybody was on my side during the Eagles' run last year, so we need it again.
that's actually that's how diehard we are. I am on board. Talk him up. Make him into an even bigger. Wow, I can't talk.
Yeah.
Make him into an even bigger headed person so that the Birds do well. Because if that's how they did well last year, and that's synonymous with Shooter feeling good about himself, carry on.
Work it out. Here's my rose. This rose comes from Kaz Fetz. I'm not really sure if I'm saying that right, but here we go. Great podcast for someone getting into the Housewives.
Oh man, this is mine.
Was it really?
Yeah, it's
I just thought
got
it was really
another one.
unique and stuff. So we could do a little shared rose here.
It's all
We'll
right.
go sentence by sentence. I'll read a little bit. You read a little
No,
bit.
that sounds like a nightmare.
As somebody who has watched The Housewives for close to 5 years and has gone back and watched older seasons, it's actually refreshing to listen to y'all come in with new takes as people who haven't seen it. I've seen them, but I don't care about all the backstory, so it's nice to listen to somebody who doesn't know it. Perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we try to do in a nutshell, so there you go.
Yeah, that
Thanks, Kaz.
describes our podcast. Nice job. All right, let me go. My thorn is this, and this is our most interacted with video on Twitter or X that we've had, and it was my rant about Ralph. And somebody commented that knows him, I guess, and they had this to say. He would never even say this in Ralph's face. You do not know me, sir.
Yeah.
You can ask Shooter. I have no problem saying things to anybody. It used to get me into trouble. I don't do stupid shit anymore. But as far as like not being the guy to say it to people's face, that is the opposite of me. I look forward to the opportunity.
Also, just a weird take to make.
Yeah,
like
I'm not
especially because every 99.99% of people that were commenting were saying that you're right. We're saying he's a piece of crap, so on and so forth. Everybody was negative towards Ralph, as you should be after watching that. To take the stance, I don't even know if you're supporting Ralph or just saying that Steele wouldn't be able to handle himself in a fight.
I don't know.
I don't really know.
I'm not even trying to fight the guy. Like,
we would have him on the show and we would hear him out and then also tell him that he's wrong.
Yeah,
and rip him apart.
We will have anybody on. Anybody. And we wouldn't enter it like being like, all right, Ralph, like, explain yourself. It's more so like, all right, dude, let's hear it. You try to talk yourself out of it. We are going to counter. Like, we will literally interview anybody. I have no issue if he wants to come on the show. I welcome it. Once again, I'll say exactly what I said to him. I have no problem doing that. But anyway, on to my rose. Let's go on to some happier business. Shooter took mine, so I'm just going to go to the next one because it's funny. From Nurse Nancy 111. These guys are great. Who knew we'd need or want our husband's opinion on our housewife show? Excellent podcast, 5 stars. Who knew?
Did it actually say 5 stars?
Yeah, she wrote 5 stars.
I love that.
I love when people give it 5 stars and then say 5 stars.
10 stars.
Because that's 10 stars.
Yeah, that's how I count it.
That should count as a double, I think. But let's not waste any time because we got shit to do. We got the birds on, baby. But that doesn't mean that we don't have time for you guys.
Always time for you
listeners.
guys.
We will always make, whether we're on vacation.
Is the weather perfect and I'd like to be drinking a beer in the parking lot right now? Sure would be.
But
we've got time for you.
We've got time. You don't know how much that speaks to how much Shooter loves you guys. The fact that he is here right now and not in the parking lot, in the D lot.
How'd you know I was going to the D lot?
Are you? Yeah, I knew it.
Vibes are going.
Vibes are strong, but we are back in OC. And we're at the dinner at the beach. Still, it's like the aftermath of everything. And Heather storms off to like go get her gifts or just kind of like gather herself, I guess. And Emily's still really pissed about how Heather's treating her. And as this episode plays out, we get to see the double standards, which I kind of needed only because like Emily's talking a lot of shit. Heather's talking a lot of shit, but at least Emily apologizes and owns up to her shit. Heather doesn't seem to do that ever.
No, and she even doubles down by giving them the gift, and everybody thinks of how weird it is that they're getting gifts right now, speaking to how much everybody's kind of at odds with Heather.
I know.
Heather comes out with all these gifts, and then she goes into her confessional and says, well, yeah, I mean, I don't think that they deserve these gifts, but I already got them embroidered. Like, oh, okay.
She's the queen of embroidering.
Yeah, who gives a shit? You know what? Just keep them in your hotel room. Don't give them the gifts.
But the main thing here is Shannon finally somewhat lightly opens up about John. And this is not good. It's not good what she says.
No.
And the fact that she like belittles it to the point that she makes it like a non-issue. Once again, we hear it's normal relationship stuff. And it's like, John doesn't want to spend time with me. You guys get that? And John doesn't want to talk about the relationship. He's an avoider. I'm a communicator.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just don't mesh. It's like everything you're saying is a red flag. Those are all bad things. That's not a healthy relationship. That's not a happy relationship. The man, if you bring up your relationship, he says, no, we ain't doing that.
No.
You know how I am.
No, we're good how we are.
Yeah, this is fine for me.
This is working fine for us.
For me, I'm cool. Shut up, Shannon.
He's definitely a big us guy. Like when he talks about things, he always says to her, this is good for us, or this is what we need.
Yeah.
And just speaks for her.
And answers on her
And she
behalf.
just says, okay.
And she goes, okay, John, don't leave.
Yeah.
But I just think it's really, really interesting because Shannon is so up in arms about people talking shit about her relationship and people behind the scenes. Meanwhile, she brings up Jen and Ryan and says, we're going to dig deeper into Jen's relationship. That's the same shit. What's the difference? Like, that's my problem with this cast, I think. And it's arguably the most unlikable group in all of the Housewives.
Have to be. And I don't know. I guess that translates to good television for a lot of people. It just doesn't for me. for the reasons that we speak about all the time, just needing to kind of like emotionally understand where people are coming from in this show.
Yeah.
And we never really can. Like every time I try to put my like I don't really I just can't even communicate as to why I do not like this cast. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
You put
We
it.
try really hard.
We both
Because we
try.
watch so much and we have to talk about it. So we try really hard to put ourselves in their shoes. And it's impossible because every time you do that, they do something that's wild. And you're like,
Yeah.
okay, I don't really understand
I
it.
think, like you said a few times, it's clear that these women aren't friends outside of the show.
Right.
And I think that we pick up on that. I think a lot of people pick up on that. And it's hard to watch knowing that, like, I mean, Heather says it. She goes, I'm just coming to the realization that, like, I don't like a lot of these women.
Yeah.
It's like, we
We've
got
seen
that.
it. We know. We
Yeah.
watch it every week and we get to understand that. And it sucks because you like when Shannon says that she wants to dig more into Jen and Ryan's relationship, it's a form of deflection to get them away. And she knows that's going to work.
Right.
Because, hey, there's a juicier scoop over here.
Right.
Stop looking at me. Go look over there.
Yep.
And then I'll help you take down another woman, even though it's the exact same thing that you're trying to do to me that I've been complaining about for weeks. Like, no, it doesn't. Everything should apply to everyone, not just you and not just another person. It just doesn't make any sense. And when we finally do get somebody that's like the fucking Tres Amigas and they are actually friends, they're insufferable.
They are so hard to watch, but I think we can sum it up as we like the drama. We welcome the drama. We do not like hypocrisy. Hypocrisy on this show, on any of these shows, is really frustrating to watch
Yeah.
because then it calls into like question the I don't understand, like the logic doesn't logic, and that's when I get frustrated. But
Agreed.
moving on from that, we start to dig into Tamra a little bit, and there's another woman at the gym. It's the woman that Ryan allegedly had his, not allegedly, confirmed, had his little thing with while him and Jen were on a quote unquote break, right? Now, Tamra says this woman reached out to Tamra and gave her all the dirt. Jen has talked to this woman apparently, and that woman told Jen that Tamra reached out to her and said, "Send me everything." What sounds more believable to you?
Obviously, the Tamra aspect. We
1000%.
see her do it, and she says that she's going
She
to do
does
these
it on
things. Like,
Twitter.
that's the thing. She does it on Twitter in front of everyone, and then she also will be caught on camera telling another woman, "Hey, so I was talking to this person. Like, I decided to dig a little bit deeper because it wasn't making any sense." And yes, in some aspects, that's okay because you need to get the full story. The way that Tamra does it is malicious.
Oh,
Tamra
totally.
only wants to do it so that she has dirt on her, and it drives me fucking insane because when you get to see that Vicki shows up and then Vicki drops that bomb talking about Jen and Ryan, Tamra looks at Jen and she goes, "Oh, no, like laughing at her. She's like, she doesn't even know who Ryan is. Ha ha ha. You got the information from you.
Right.
Like, what are you doing? You're trying to be buddy with Jen, but then you go to the confessional and say, I just don't understand like this relationship that I have with Jen. Like, I don't really get it. I don't really like her. I need to like do this and that. And it's like, then stop being buddy with her and be normal. Like, we see this on other shows. If you do not mesh, and I go to like Sutton and Erica Jane, they did not like each other. And you knew it. And it was very apparent. Tamara is fake in your face, and then she'll go behind your back and try to dig up dirt and go after you some other way or have somebody else do the dirty work for her. It's crazy to watch this unfold. And then Tamara just this whole like, woe is me. I can't believe that people think that I'm a bad person. It's like, you are.
Perfectly said.
Yeah.
I have nothing to add.
Frustrating.
It's very frustrating. I want to touch on the ATV scene real quick because I got to give Emily props. When they showed where they were standing on, I guess you can call them like a diving platform. It's a wooden structure.
Yeah.
At a cenote. And we've seen it. This is our second cenote. We had
It
one
is.
with Potomac. Yeah.
But
So
you know what? We got activities. And I
we
love
did.
activities.
We had
We need activities.
But to see Emily just not even blink and just jump off that thing, when she hit, I was like, ooh, that didn't seem like a clean. You know what? You can
Yeah.
tell when people get through the water, it's like scoop.
Yep.
Like they're fine. It was a loud impact. I was like, oh, I don't know if that was a good one. Sure enough, she pops up with a bloody nose. I was like, but you know what? 1, took it like a champ.
Yep.
2, didn't back down from the jump. And 3, she didn't turn it. Anybody else, that would have been a day ender.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Oh my God, my nuts.
If Shannon did that,
No, oh,
Shannon would have gone home.
She
Home.
would have laid, like floated in the cenote until somebody saved her.
Yep.
She wouldn't have moved.
Without a doubt. I mean, you already get to see, and that's the other thing is like somebody like Gina doing it. Gina's very obvious.
Oh.
She's very forthcoming with her fear of water and fear of whatever might be in the water, I
When
guess.
she did the stutter step at the end of the
I
dive,
thought
I
she
was
was
like,
just gonna take a
oh,
tumble
no,
and
no,
go
no.
down. Yep.
Because we've seen those videos where the person like at the last minute grabs on to
Yep.
like the rock and then they fall down a cliffside and then like
Yep.
roll into the water.
I've seen that happen in person before. It's not fun.
No, look, anybody out there that's going to do some stupid shit, take it from somebody that's jumped off a lot of things.
I have too. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, and the funniest part about the whole thing is I love the well, I guess they kind of had some people there to kind of watch to make sure.
No, they didn't. They had
Yeah,
two
no, it's-
guys that were like,
I was thinking the same
this
thing. Like
means
when
stop, this means go. Here's a
they at least had
cenote.
that, I guess. I don't, it's something.
Those guys could give a fuck.
No,
Like-
when I saw it happen, I was down in Puerto Rico and we just went into like this foresty area and there was a huge jumping cliff area and there's a ton of people jumping up and down, whatever. Somebody tried to climb all the way up the rocks and go under a waterfall and jump over, and then they slipped and fell
Yep, and that will happen.
and rolled all the way down and then into the water, and then they were all cut up and shit, and it was great. But
Here, the two notes. One, if you're gonna do it, don't be a hero. Do the scary jump that everybody's doing.
Yeah.
Two, you got to commit.
Yep.
If you're gonna do dumb shit, you got to commit.
and you don't have to be the first person. I mean, obviously Emily came out with the bloody nose, but it looked like Tamra was okay, Shannon was okay, so Jem was fine.
And
you just
Heather
gotta do it.
will never get in that water. There's no way.
Absolutely
You
not.
couldn't pay her to. But the next thing, Tamra's in a little confessional, and she drags Jen again. She's like, I thought she was a yoga mom, and now she's wearing this fake designer stuff and like this fake drip. And I like that the producer calls out what she's wearing. It's like, well, who made that?
Yeah.
And she says a name that I don't know,
No idea.
and it could be made. It could be fake. It could be
fake.
real. But it's just weird that she takes these weird digs at Jen.
Look,
It's
Tamra
like,
hasn't been on screen for a little while.
she's
You know,
doing
this is her
everything.
first
and
season. She's trying to do everything she
But the
can.
confessionals
surprised if
are
it was fake.
so forced, bro. Like it's not even fluid. When she tries to make jokes, they never hit. But I'm not going to. I will not let Tamra ruin my day. You can do that today. I'm not letting her get to me.
You think I'm gonna do that?
No, not that she's. But that's the thing. You can
Oh.
talk shit and not let it ruin your
Oh,
day.
yeah,
If
yeah,
I talk
yeah,
shit, I'm going to get
Yeah.
emotional, whatever. But we get Vicki, who arrives to the trip, and I was excited. I was like, "Oh, cool,
Same.
Vicky's back." And then after the first interaction with Shannon and Tamra, I was like, "This is gonna be a fucking nightmare."
Yep.
They just start screaming, and she starts saying, "Whoop it up" again, and like, I don't believe that she's ever whooped it up. Like, whoop it up to me means that you are gonna go balls to the wall. Like, I appreciate the effort that she brings, but I feel like whoop it up is a way for her to like pump herself up.
It has to be, and I always thought that whoop it up is like a positive thing. Like you're gonna bring the life to the party. It's gonna be so much fun. She does not bring the life to the party.
That's what I mean.
When she gets drunk, she gets scary drunk to the point that she's falling down and you have to worry about her.
Right.
That's not fun for
That's
me.
not a whoop.
No. A
That's-
whoop is we're gonna play some beer games. We're gonna play beer pong. We're gonna flip cup. We're gonna jump in this pool and have a lot of fun.
Right.
She's like, no, I'm gonna drink like 17 margaritas and then fall down.
Yeah, exactly.
Not fun. Not whoop.
Whoopless. But while they're at dinner that night, a lot of stuff starts to come to light. They start to bring up the issues that the group is having. This is where the hypocrisy comes in with Heather. And this is the perfect way to kind of describe it all. She said to Emily that she's got a snuffleupagus look going. In what world is that a compliment? She goes, I love Snuffleupagus. Snuffleupagus, let's call him what he is. He's a big, hairy elephant.
Yeah.
That's never a compliment, ever. No matter how you spin it. That's like saying no offense, but you're fucking ugly. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know what else to
I
say.
really don't understand how that could ever be taken as a compliment.
No, but she tries to spin it like, because I love Snuffleupagus, it's a positive. It's like, just because you like something doesn't mean that calling somebody a hairy elephant is a good thing.
Yeah, no.
Like, thank God Emily, and this is why I love Emily.
I like Bigfoot, but I wouldn't call you Bigfoot.
Correct.
Yeah.
Oh, and then we have the Sasquatch. Like,
Yeah.
that's
Yep.
stupid.
That's
It's
why I was thinking about Bigfoot. yeah.
Tamra, you know it's a Sasquatch.
Oh my God,
You
yeah.
know it's a Sasquatch. You're saying it incorrectly on purpose. Not doing it. She will not
Do
suck
it.
me into. Nope, not doing it. But Vicki out of nowhere says to Jen, I think that we have a similar situation. I was in a similar relationship where you're in love with a person, but they're just not right for you. Where would she get that information from? How on earth would she know that and have that opinion about it?
I mean, it's painfully obvious to us and everybody at that table. where
Everybody
she
in
got
the
information
world.
from,
Yeah.
and it just doesn't make any sense. Vicki has been out of the scene for 6 or 7 weeks since that party. I don't even know whose fucking house it was anymore because this is very quickly turning into the longest season ever. I don't know how it's still on TV.
Oh, no.
And Vicki has not seen Jen. That's probably the first time that she ever met Jen. Otherwise, you're not going to meet Jen. You don't know shit about Jen.
Nope.
Don't bring this up randomly while sitting at dinner. Like, no. Either one, you're just trying to get back on the show or create some waves or whatever. And Tamra kind of orchestrated this whole thing to try to get you a little more airtime. Everybody knew what was going on right away. I'm happy that Jen knew right away and then immediately called out Tamra.
I'm glad she finally called her out at the
Just
table.
call her out to her face. Everybody knows what's going on. The worst part about this whole thing is the other women's confessionals. When you get to see Gina and Emily are talking about how Jen is going through this whole thing and we really need to check on Jen and make sure Jen's okay. They didn't step up for her.
They didn't step up, and the emphasis
They checked
was
on her after, but during that moment, they didn't say a word to Jen. They just kept their mouth shut. And then Emily made a joke about how her mother-in-law, who's 78 years old, heard it. And she's like, yeah, my mother-in-law is like 78 years old.
Well,
And she
that's
heard that
the
he was
next
a
day at the
player.
table, so let's just jump right
Oh, yeah.
there.
Well,
I mean, we're pretty
I'm
much- we're
lumping
there.
everything together.
Yeah,
I
we're
don't-
pretty much there. And I think that what's weird is the emphasis isn't placed on, is Jen okay? Is she feeling okay? It's, why doesn't Jen react? Why doesn't she stand up for herself? Why is that your focus? Maybe get to the root of, okay, she's not reacting. Maybe we need to talk to her like
Yeah.
behind a closed door instead of ambushing her every single time Tamra's around, because Tamra has her sights set on her because she thinks it's a good storyline.
That's just, they don't know how to talk to each other because they're not friends.
Correct.
They did the same thing with Shannon. Like, yes, maybe Shannon's a little scarier to handle that situation with because she gets blackout drunk and doesn't remember what she says. But you haven't even tried that approach with Jen.
No.
You keep hearing things. And yes, obviously the season started off with Jen talking about how she was in an emotionally cheating relationship with Ryan and she was still married to the last guy and blah, 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 and whatever. But you never took the time to sit down and be like, look, we're hearing a lot of things. Most of it's coming from Tamra. You can just be plain about it. I don't understand why they try to beat around the bush. Tamra is not like trying to go against Teresa Giudice.
Right.
Tamra is not trying to go against someone who's like a mainstay, like Jen Shah was in Salt Lake because you were afraid of her. Nobody should be afraid of Tamra.
No.
Like maybe, yes, maybe if you do have some dirt that you don't want to be dug up, Tamra will go after that dirt if you go after her. We need people to go after Tamra because she's orchestrating this whole shitstorm and then acting like she's having a great time doing it because she's not doing any of the dirty work herself. It's just frustrating to watch and nobody backs her up. But I'm happy that Jen grew a spine, stood up, and went at Tamra.
But to your point, what you just said, in the first episode, she offers up the information. She does not hide behind a whole lot. She says, yeah, I was the one that fucked it up. She does say, like, she tries to give the softer approach and, like, yeah, the marriage was dead or the spark was gone. But other than the spark was gone, like, we didn't hear a whole lot of defensive from her. Like, she took ownership. If I'm her and I offered this info in the beginning, I gave people the opportunity to, like, discuss it with me, right? This has been the response since, is a lot of side talks, a lot of ambushes at dinners and, like, social events. Why the fuck would I bring it back up?
Right.
And if you guys have questions, everyone wants to talk about Shannon and the fact that, like, oh, we're supposed to bring this stuff to her. Why is Jen treated differently? It's because Tamra's the one that has her sights set on her. But at the table is when the Ryan discussion really amps up and Tamra admits to talking behind Jen's back.
Yes.
She says, yeah, I've been talking with so-and-so. And that's when Jen's like, all right, if you want to fucking do this, let's do this. Because she reached out to me and said that you texted her and said, send me everything. And that verbatim sounds exactly what Tamra would say.
Yep.
She would be that forward with it. And Tamra's like, no, that didn't happen. We have so many different instances in which Tamra's done exactly this. We have a comment on our TikTok of her claiming that she did not interact with Jen before this season, really, when in the first episode, and that comment's from Tamra on our TikTok.
Yeah.
But in the first episode, she's the one saying, I've known Jen for a long time. She's come to the gym. I watched her and Ryan get together the first time. Like, which side of the street do you want to be on? Because you keep picking both lanes and it doesn't work that way.
She doesn't know. That's her blueprint for doing good reality TV, I guess, is just play both sides of the field and just keep bopping back and forth. That way you can be friends with everybody, but you can also go against them whenever you want. And I hate in this scene, instead of focusing on that, like, yes, we do agree that Jen and Ryan's relationship is a problem.
Yeah,
There's
Ryan's
an
a
issue
scumbag.
there. And eventually, yes, we're not going to get anywhere. And Jen admits to knowing certain details, but why would she share all of those details, especially with these women? They don't have your best interest in mind for the most
No.
part. Gina somewhat seems like she kind of cares, but she's just kind of worried for
Gina,
Jen.
to me, it seems like she's trying to figure out where she can fit in sometimes.
I think so too. I would agree so too. I think that Emily is more of an authentic person because she tries to start and then stops and then makes a joke about her mother-in-law. And then at the end, she just says, look, at some point, we're talking to Jen about this and we're telling her all these details. She knows a lot of these. She wants to stay with Ryan because she loves Ryan. At some point, you just have to let an adult be an adult.
Yeah, you guys.
And that's the difference between Jen's situation and Shannon's situation. And Shannon's situation. Jen's situation, she admits to everything. She knows. As soon as you bring something up, she looks and she goes, well, yeah, I didn't want to talk about that, but like I knew that. And this is what I'm choosing to do. Shannon goes, well, you guys are completely wrong. You know nothing about my relationship, and just completely goes into denial mode. There are very vast differences there. The biggest problem here is once you get to the point where you say Jen is an adult, she's going to make her own decisions. She knows all this information and she's still doing it. We can be here to help if we want to, whatever. Once you diffuse that whole thing, the big problem is Tamra. Why is no one looking at Tamra and saying, Tamra, shut the fuck up? Like, why are you digging so hard?
How the
Why are you just actively trying to take down another person? What did Jen do to you specifically? We haven't seen anything this season where Jen is going after Tamra or working in the background saying, well, you know, Tamra's relationship isn't that good. And maybe you should look at her accounting books because her gyms are making way too much money and there's not a lot of people there. Anything like that, then Tamra can be like, fuck you, I'm going to go after you.
She hasn't done
Jen
shit.
hasn't done shit.
Mm-mm.
Jen, if anything, was probably thankful in the beginning because Tamra got her on the show. We all know she got her on the show. But instead, Tamra's taking this chance to bring this person on the show just to take them down in the public eye. It's so fucking weird. The fact that none of these women see that, or maybe they do see that and they just don't care, is not good television to me.
It's not good television. And to hear this sentence, again, I'm not going to get ramped up.
Don't do it.
To hear the sentence, you ruined your whole family. And no one says anything. Someone says this is getting like too far. Say that to Tamra. Say, hey,
Yes.
Tamra,
Not generally.
knock it off because now you're rule number one, baby. Leave the kids out of it.
Yup.
Now you're bringing the kids into it. Now you're bringing up.
And the only reason they said it was getting too far is because of Jen's reaction.
Exactly.
Which is a normal reaction.
Absolutely.
If somebody ever says that to you, you flip out, you freak out. Jen had a normal reaction. Tamra's sentence was not a normal reaction. You
No.
should never say that, but that's what happens with Tamra. If you push her even a little bit, she gets nasty.
She says the
Absolutely nasty.
meanest thing that she can possibly think of. And it's
Yes.
not clever. It's not funny. And it's not good TV.
But that's why this cast just does not work. No one's going after her.
No.
It can't just be the subject of the criticism from Tamra going back at her. Somebody else needs to step in and say something to Tamra. And nobody wants to because they all have their own personal agendas and nobody can find their way. Or you've got Heather on the other side just completely checked out because she doesn't give a shit anymore. Nobody else is really stepping up and doing anything. There's no good performances by one of these women in this entire show. And it is boring and stupid.
It can't be the Tamra show because she already got the boot once.
Yeah.
Because it didn't fucking work.
Yep.
But that takes us right into Salt Lake. And loved the episode. It wasn't a whole lot going on, but that's okay. I'm glad that there's not one center focus of the whole episode. And like I think that's where it lost its luster last year was you knew every week what the topic was going to be.
Yeah.
And instead of it
Unfortunately.
being Jen Shaw, it was Heather's black eye, and you knew what we were going to get. And I think that's where they fell short this season. We don't have that. So that's nice. We obviously have some different things that have happened in the past that we're getting some resolution to, which is very different than just trying to further the drama. And that starts us out with Lisa and Meredith on their first one-on-one, like walk and talk and just hang out for like 2 years.
Yeah.
Which all stems from the off-camera hot mic moment where she calls her a garbage whore and says that she's sleeping around. And there was a lot of negative stuff that Lisa said on a hot mic, but she's apologized at length. The first year, like immediately after that, Lisa was going out of her way to do anything for Meredith to like prove to her that she was her friend. Why I think that this break was so important for Lisa is she, within this time frame, has 100% found her voice. She's confident in who she is. Her businesses are doing well. She stands up for herself now. She's not going to take Meredith's shit. So if they are going to bridge this gap again, she's in the best place possible because she will no longer be a lackey to Meredith.
Mhm.
She's going to be her own person, stand in her own morals and values, and that could actually lead to a good friendship. Whereas before, it was much more of a, how can I help you, Meredith? and Meredith kind of talking down to her.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see this. Meredith's not my fave. I
No,
want to see this blossom.
but I agree, and I think it's going to make for a good show too. Because in the past, when you get Lisa just kind of doing whatever Meredith wants, Lisa's not a good character.
No.
Lisa has, like you said, found her voice and she's moved forward.
She is stellar on her
I
own.
think overall, and I know that I said last week that I was a little skeptical about what Meredith's intentions were with Lisa, thinking that, Meredith is kind of like moving to the background and she's not really friends with a whole lot of people. What can I do? I need to make friends with Lisa. I'm going to throw that out the window for now, just because when I watched this scene, I felt like it was genuine. I thought that pretty much all the questions, it was important that Meredith was walking and said, look, I think that we both made mistakes. I think that we're both regretful for the things that we did. I think we're both very sorry. And I think that we both want to move forward with this.
Yep.
And you get the confessionals from both of them, and neither one is throwing shade. Like, yes, Lisa is saying, I'm going to be a little cautious here as I move forward with Meredith
Rightfully
because I don't want
so.
that. And that's fine. I think it's important because, like you said, last year we just had Lisa doing everything under the sun to try to make Meredith like her again. And in the process, she ended up just finding her own voice. And Meredith wasn't ready. And that's okay. That's entirely fine after what Lisa said and what Lisa did on national television. It's okay if you don't want to be friends with that woman right away. Give it some time to simmer. And they did. And now you're back. And look, I don't think that they're going to jump right being into best friends again. I don't think anything's going to happen
I
like
think
that.
it's going to move quicker.
I think it's going to move quick. I do think it's going to move quickly. But I don't think that they're going to have like inside jokes by next week.
No.
I think that they will get closer. And eventually we're going to have a very awkward scene where John and Seth have to sit down and talk about
the
it.
robot
as bros.
husbands?
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Oh, man. They're going to get in a bathtub together and they're going to hash it out.
See, the thing is, I like John. JB Husband Boss is a likable character. He does come off robotic at times. Seth actually seems like an AI robot man.
I think the opposite, actually. That's
so
so funny.
dude.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
I think that, I think that either of them could go both way.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. I think that there's more personality coming out of Seth when he's trying to pour that shot of
See, to
wine.
me,
Like, it
that's
just
like-
didn't make any sense, but it's just goofy and it
but
just
in
seems like
my
something a
mind,
goofy guy would
That's
do.
like if you go on like Chat GPT and type in "pour wife a glass of wine," and the AI robot doesn't understand. Like, oh, there's a wine
That's so
glass, and
funny.
he's like, "Shot glass, ha 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 ha
That's
ha
so
ha
funny.
ha." Make shot glass joke, ha ha. Like he's so vanilla.
He is super vanilla. They're all vanilla though. That's the thing. Is like all of them are
I
vanilla.
don't have an issue with Seth. It's just like that's my read. But the next scene is Whitney and Heather, and
Boy, did we eat our words right away.
yeah, I know.
Oh my God.
These two attempt to reconnect. They say, there's been a lot going on, and obviously they used to be good friends. They're cousins, and we saw a little bit in the first episode of a potential reconnection. I didn't expect to see this like right out of the gate, but I don't see it going that well, especially with the Angie K entering the whole thing, because Heather has an issue with Angie K, rightfully so. She was spreading rumors that Heather hooked up with Jen Shaw around Salt Lake. Like, it was funny-ish at the time when we watched it during the season because nothing else was happening that was funny. But that's a pretty scathing rumor.
It is. And
especially in a very, very religious city.
right.
It's like a bunch of Mormons, and you're talking about scissoring.
That's a very good point. No, I had a problem with this. Obviously, we said last week that we hope that Heather can turn it around. I said that I was very hopeful that she was going to have a good season. And then she goes into this scene. There were a couple of things. Obviously, like you said, there's going to be an issue between Whitney and Heather. And we're kind of seeing almost, it's kind of funny to watch it juxtaposed to Lisa and Meredith,
Yeah.
where Heather and Whitney were so close early on. And then they had the falling out. And Whitney's, for what Whitney is, we kind of have accepted what Whitney is. She's not, the brightest bulb out there, but she owns it and she does her own thing. We always know where she's coming from. She pretty much wears her emotions on her sleeve. And if she has a problem with something, she always says it right away, for better or for worse. That's fine. But the way that Heather was talking to Whitney, it was like Heather expected them to be best friends again. Like, I can share my intimate details and emotions with you, and you'll understand where I'm coming from. And that's
Whitney's a little more guarded.
Yeah, Whitney's way more guarded. So she starts talking about Angie K, and she's like, yeah, Angie K had all those rumors, and like, I just don't understand. I don't think she's good for you as a friend. I don't think that, you might like her right now. She might be fun right now until she's not. And it's like, Heather, shut up.
Time
Just
and
like,
place.
it's okay if you have an issue with Angie. You can just plainly say, well, I'm not really, I'm a little skeptical to get back into a friendship with Angie because of what she said last year. Maybe Whitney wouldn't understand that. Maybe she would. Who knows? But then to push your opinion on her and then go into Lisa's son going on a fucking mission trip.
Calling her a bad Mormon because she has a tequila company and this
Insane.
and that.
Like, also, Heather, it's so hypocritical of you to sit there and say, well, when I went on my first mission trip, I just went because one of my friends was going, and I didn't really understand it, but I just wanted to go. And now you're talking about Lisa's son, who you genuinely know nothing about. You don't understand what he's doing. What Heather is doing by pushing her opinion on religion on another person is religion. That's all you're doing.
Yeah.
You're trying to get somebody else to understand your beliefs. That's fucking religion, Heather.
So that's what I was about to say is I think it's really funny that the person that wrote Bad Mormon, that is no longer part of the church, talks to other people like she is the utmost expert on the matter and almost talks negatively about people that are still following the church to a certain extent, like Lisa and her family.
Yep.
But not following it to a T. And then she seems to take umbrage with the fact that they're not like 100% all in on the Mormon religion. It's like, well, that's ironic considering.
She did the same thing with Monica too.
I know.
Like, oh, what do you mean, kind of? You're either all in or you're not.
But
It's
hey,
like, what do you mean?
You're no longer a Mormon, Heather.
Yeah.
And also, look around the world. Like, look at everybody you know that's a Christian or a Catholic. Are they fucking Bible thumping, following it to the T? No. People have their own interpretation of how they interact with God. And for somebody that left the church, wrote a book about the church, it seems pretty
She's getting a little
silly.
preachy. She's getting a little preachy.
Like, it's weird. It would be like if somebody stopped drinking for like a year and then has been drinking ever since then and would talk to me about sobriety. Like,
Right.
something like that would be really stupid to do.
Oh, I would say it's like somebody who stopped drinking for like a couple of months would then start judging their friends and saying you
That
shouldn't
too.
be drinking.
Right. Yeah.
That's
okay.
kind of what I feel like.
Yeah.
That's what Heather's doing.
Yeah. It's a
It's like you
weird
shouldn't
move.
just let people live their lives.
Exactly.
You know what?
Exactly.
Your life, we know your life has been hard enough.
Yeah.
You wrote a book about it. Good for you. I'm happy that you were a bestseller. I'm happy that you seem happier because you're removed from the church. Stop talking about the church all the time. I know you're in Utah, but stop bringing it up. You bring it up more than anybody who's actually in the church. So stop.
That's it. Very well said. The next scene, we get Meredith and Seth, and I literally wrote, Seth's a robot. They seem like they're doing well. They always do. I will say, like, their relationship always seems great. Their kids and their relationship, like, they seem like a very happy family. We love to see that. They started a podcast.
Sure
Will
did.
you listen to Hanging On by a Thread?
I'd listen to an episode.
What do you think it's going to be like?
I don't know. Maybe we get a little bit more insight into Seth. Try to
Think
figure
he
it
like
out.
loosens up a little bit?
I don't know. Zach told us last year that Seth was hot. So
we did this. Didn't we like put it out to the audience? I think we got some feedback that
people were like, Seth's attractive. Like, what? I don't
get it.
know.
I'm not he's not an unattractive man.
No.
By any means. I'm not saying he's ugly. I just don't see the it factor. But hey, look, if you're attracted to AI robots,
I would listen to the podcast.
I don't dislike Seth. I'm not trying to bash the guy.
No.
But he's a robot. Anyway, they talk about the Trixie Motel, and Trixie Mattel, I believe, is opening the hotel. They're a drag queen. They're a very notable drag queen, I guess. They opened this motel out in, where was it, Palm Springs?
I think it was Palm Springs, and we finally get the understanding of what the difference between a motel and a hotel is. Did you catch that?
2003 Dom Perignon and room service with a big menu.
Yes,
That's what
that is a hotel.
Mary. Yeah. Thank you, Mary.
I'm holding every hotel motel to those standards now.
Holiday Inn.
Oh, hey now.
Motel.
But they're talking in a row. We're singing.
Somebody commented that should have been my rose. I'll do that one next.
That's a good one. Yeah.
But they're talking about the invite list, and Lisa's invited, so Meredith's already making good on trying to bridge that gap there. Monica gets the invite, the newbie, which is good. Get her involved. I think that the easy thing here, for Meredith's sake, just invite the group.
Yep.
Like you don't want to leave anybody
Don't alienate.
out.
I never understand when people get alienated
don't
on
either.
a housewife show.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Everybody has to be there contractually, so make sure they're there.
Just do that. But we go to Angie K's house with Sean. We get to meet Sean for the first time, her hairstylist / husband, I believe.
Yep.
They met in the salon or whatever. But my first reaction, like now that she's like full time and we're getting like the behind the scenes with her and like her life at home, and I hope this changes. It seems extremely forced to me.
Yeah.
Every one of her scenes seems like she's trying to do the most.
think
to be
it
a
will.
housewife, and I don't want to fault her either. 'Cause it's her
No.
first time, like full time.
Yep.
But
I
she
don't think we
is
got to
not.
see her family at all last year. It was
No,
just
we
her,
didn't. It
right?
was just her, and like I'll be flat out honest. She is not my favorite at all. I'm trying to give her some grace here to like
She
get her
doesn't bring
feet
anything
wet.
to the table. Like
Really
she
not.
tries to be too shady at like weird times.
She tries to have like big one line. That's probably the biggest red flag for I'm trying too hard is when you hear a lot of forced like haha moments and
Right.
they're not landing.
And they're not landing at all. And I thought the same thing too when we were brought into her house and her daughter's playing with the dog. The whole thing just seems super forced. Like all of her
Yeah.
comments from the kitchen. She asked about the salad like 15 times.
Yeah, we got it.
Like, is there
Salad's
too much
good.
salt on the salad? Like, no, it's good. All right, but it's not too salty.
Yeah,
It's
we
like,
got
no, no, it's
a little
good.
bit.
Why don't you sit down and eat this? Oh, Lisa Barlow's calling me. I'll call her back later. Like, oh, okay, whatever. I think it's just growing pains. I think we can attribute it to that, and we can move on. We don't have to.
Yeah, we don't need to dive further
hold on to
it.
that.
I did think it's interesting that the talk that we get from Heather early on about the high school days with Angie is a very different outlook than Angie gives us.
I believe
Heather's-
Angie.
I do too.
Yeah.
Totally. But Heather says, like we didn't get along that well. Like we intermingled because our friends would kind of hang out. So like I knew her, but like I thought she had natural curls, but it was a perm, so I don't trust her, which is dumb.
That's
And
the
then
stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Angie says, yeah, like Heather was like really witty, sarcastic, funny in high school. Like we hung out a little bit. We always got along fine, I guess. But like I would love to be able to like mend whatever relationship we have and like move forward, blah, blah, blah. Like she talks pretty nicely about Heather, whereas Heather drags her. And again, she did say that she was scissoring Jen Shaw. So like I get that there's a little animosity there. But in light of this season, fresh powder, fresh start, all that nonsense.
Yeah, you're not doing a fresh start with Angie.
Yeah,
that's for
give
sure.
her a shot, I guess. Like
Especially like I would imagine that somebody like Heather would understand and
Right?
just kind of like laugh about
Because
it maybe
Jen
at this point
Shaw.
because Jen Shaw's gone. Like everybody watching that last year was at the point of frustration where we wanted it to be what Angie was talking about. Like you
Right.
and I talked about it before Angie even said it. We're like, oh yeah, maybe they were doing a little bit of scissoring going on in the bedroom and somebody got kicked in the face. It's a funny thing. You can just throw it out there. You don't have to be that upset about it. And it's one of those things that if she gets more upset about it and she keeps bringing it up, we're going to be like, well, what the fuck happened?
Yeah.
And then we're going to be caught into the goddamn black
gonna
eye
pull
bullshit
back
again. And
into
I
the
don't want to
same-
do it. Just
right.
let it go. Understand that nobody cares anymore. Jen Shaw's gone. You can leave the black eye in the past and let's move on.
Agreed. And move on we shall to Monica. And when this scene started out versus when it ended, I had a very different take. And she talks about her family moving from Boston to Salt Lake. Her mom got into the Mormon church when she was like 5. So she grew up Mormon. She got married Mormon, all that stuff. And when she talks about Brea Baby, which is her company, she makes swaddling blankets and crib blankets and things like that. My knee-jerk reaction, I'm like, she's going to talk about how like this business started as a hobby and now it's like uber successful and like she's making millions off of this, and that's bullshit. Because that's what I am used to
Yeah.
from every housewife that
Yep.
starts a business. It's automatically super successful.
Yep.
We didn't get that.
Nope.
As she starts to talk through everything, she gets really emotional about her financial standing compared to the rest of the group. And I really, really appreciated this scene because she's so honest about the fact that she went to a Louis Vuitton store to buy a bag just to fit in. And she's embarrassed about that because that's not her. And she feels that in her whole life, she's never been this person. But now she has all of these insecurities. She doesn't want them to make fun of her small house. She doesn't want them to look down on her because, and this was the line that stuck out the most, she says, I'm at home self-packaging. Like the self-awareness here
Yep.
to be like, I'm trying my best. I'm out on my own now. I got divorced from my husband. I'm trying to build something for myself. It's going fine. I'm trying to make it into something more. I'm doing my own packaging. I'm not rolling in it like the rest of these women. And that makes me feel insecure. Love that.
Yeah. The self-awareness. And I fully appreciated the scene too, because I think that's something we never really get in these shows.
No,
ever.
no,
Like,
no.
yeah, we kind of got it in Jersey when Danielle was talking about her house, but Danielle is such a powerful presence that
Right.
she starts talking immediately about how she doesn't give a shit.
Right.
Monica being vulnerable and talking about this, that's a very real moment. Like when you think about it, she goes to a Louis Vuitton store just to buy a bag for this trip.
Yep.
Because she knows that somebody's going to compliment the bag and she's going to feel really good about that. But then she might feel like shit afterwards because she spent money that she doesn't necessarily have. And that's got to be a tough situation to be in. I think, and I want to see this pan out a little bit more, but I do think that eventually she's going to kind of cut that whole scheme out, if you will, where she just stops caring and she goes back to being herself.
I
Because I
hope
think we
so.
get a little bit of that a little bit later when she's talking about the rings,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
having a jeweler. I think that she's going to be unapologetically herself by the end of the season.
I think
And I think we're going to appreciate where we started. We get to start with this. She had a moment of weakness. Maybe she had a couple of weeks of weakness, just trying to like find her way through this group. But if you find somebody like Heather doesn't care really.
Right.
Heather might talk behind your back, but Heather doesn't care up front. You might have somebody to talk to. I don't think that Meredith would really care. But Meredith's a woman of few words sometimes. So it's
few words, lots of faces.
It'll depend on the relationships, who she makes friends with. We're not really sure who she's going to make friends with so far. We'll see.
Yeah,
I think her and Whitney could probably hit it off.
I see her and Whitney either being great friends or
or Monica hates Whitney,
Yeah.
and Whitney doesn't understand why Monica hates her. So then she hates Monica.
That's
that would
it.
probably make the most
That's
sense
the
to me.
one.
But I did appreciate it, and it gives us a little bit more background on Monica.
Yeah, it was a good scene. But from there, we get an Angie and Whitney double date, which was awkward as hell the entire time. The husbands don't know what to talk
I
about.
hated this.
This was really uncomfortable. And at first, I had an issue with Sean wearing a hat at the table until they cut to the bed scene, and my man's bald. So, hey, do what you got to do. Appreciate that.
Bald hairdresser.
Yeah, you look good. Hey, don't, no shade.
I wasn't saying anything. I
Oh.
just pointed it out.
Just stating the obvious. But as they're talking, this is the first, and we've seen like scenes from this season, and it's gonna come up that Whitney's having some marital problems.
Yeah.
That's coming up later in the season. So this is the first inkling we get of it because Justin's wearing a communication crystal around his neck to help improve the communication between him and his wife, Whitney. Now, I know what this scene's about. It's to set it up. So we get the setup for them having marital issues throughout this whole season. This is the first time that she takes ownership of her being a bad communicator because Justin's like, she says what?
Both of us have a hard time.
Both of us have a hard time communicating. And sometimes I think I say things and I don't. And I'm like, that tracks. And Justin's like, wow, that's great communication, honey. Thank you so much.
That's the first time that you've actually admitted
Owned up to your side.
ownership to that.
And we find out that Angie's not invited to the girls' trip, which again, Meredith, just invite everybody. And that makes even less sense. If it was a Heather trip, okay, I get why Angie K is not invited. Angie K is a full-time cast member now.
I don't know what Meredith's beef with Angie K is.
Why is she not coming to the thing?
No idea.
We missed something.
I don't think so.
Our listeners are going to tell us we did. But
I don't look. You can tell us that we missed a lot of things on a lot of shows. This is a show that we've been watching, so I don't think
we
so.
did,
Yeah.
I really don't. But moving on, this is when we get Heather and Monica, and they're shopping, getting ready for Palm Springs. It's Monica's first girls' trip. None of these new cast members have been on girls' trips.
know,
and
right?
It's really funny.
Look, I've never been on a girls' trip. So.
Neither have I. But I'm just saying, like,
I don't want to be invited, but I'm just saying.
no, but like, we're also not girls, so why would we have?
We talk about Bravo. Maybe we can get invited.
We actually might be able to go on a girls'
I
trip.
don't want to. Again,
Well, maybe we can.
maybe we can.
How do you know? You never been on
Listeners,
one.
send us
What do you
emails.
mean?
Invite us on girls' trips.
Oh, wait a minute. I like this idea. You send us your picture perfect girls trip that you would invite Shooter and I to. I want to hear give us an itinerary for day one.
Preferably golf.
Yeah.
We'll golf with you.
We'll golf with give us an itinerary. We'll see, and we'll pick our favorite girls trip.
Yep.
I like this. But they're talking about Palm Springs, and Heather is much more blunt with Monica about why she doesn't like Angie K. And I feel like Heather does herself a disservice a lot.
Yeah.
By talking to people that either one, her relationship's not that strong with, such as Whitney, or two, it's a new relationship and you decide to divulge your feelings entirely about other people. Monica is going to form her own opinion about Angie K. If Monica finds out that she, in fact, likes Angie K, Monica's going to tell Angie K, well, you were talking all this shit.
I don't know, though, because Monica's already been pretty straightforward, at least with us, in her confessional about how she knows a lot about all these women.
Oh, I know
so she
that.
might not like Angie K. I didn't get the vibe from the first episode that she likes Angie K.
I'm not saying she does. I'm saying
yeah.
This is an objective stance as like if
she
this
spills
is just a
too
friend
much and she gives people dirt unintentionally.
Yes,
Yeah.
where like you don't need to offer up this info just in case.
I think the way Heather does it is that she's trying to communicate and maybe connect, and Heather's trying to make friends, and she realizes like, well, the Whitney thing's not really working out too well. I'm friends with Meredith. You know, Lisa Barlow doesn't really want to tell me about her son's mission trip. There's something going on there. I don't really know what's up. Angie K, obviously that's a lost cause. So let me try to make friends with Monica. She's a new person now, and I can kind of take her under my wing.
But make friends and friendships.
I know. Well,
by other means, not talking shit. It's going to get you in trouble. I agree.
It's
just
a
like,
personality thing, I think.
But Monica divulges some information to us.
Oh boy, did she!
I let out an audible.
I let out
an audible. On Otterbowl. That's what otters smoke out
Yep.
of.
Mhm. Yeah. It's going to say eat food, but sure.
Oh, yeah, eat food. Monica lets us in on what happened with her husband, and I let out an audible, oh my God. She was hooking up with her brother-in-law for 18 months.
Yep.
And make it even worse? I don't know if it's worse. It's her brother's sister's husband.
Yeah.
Like, that's a lot of.
I think no. I
a
think that's
lot
not
of
worse.
dynamic.
I do not
think
think
the
that's
brother's
worse.
brother's worse.
Brother's brother would be way worse. I think.
Okay, I just
Because now at least
worse.
it's not like the same blood. It's marital.
I don't know, dude. It's like
All right. Let's put it in terms of Ralph. So we've got Ralph and Courtney, right?
okay.
If Courtney was Drew's, no, I don't want to do this. I really don't want to do this.
I don't wanna
Actually,
do
I'm
this
not going to
either.
do it. Nope.
Look, it's just fucked up regardless.
It
But she
is.
at least, again, she's open about it. She's honest about it. She shares with us, and that's why she was excommunicated from the church. She went to her bishop and said, I need to get something off my chest, father, or whatever they call the Mormon people. The more man. She went to the more
She went to the
man.
more
and
man.
she said, I've been unfaithful. Let him in on all the secrets, hoping to be absolved of her sins. She gets kicked out of the church. Her partner in crime, he's cool.
Her mistress.
Her mistress, her
Mistress.
or Mister. Is it just a Mister? It
I
might
have
just
no.
be a
Is that what Mister means?
Maybe
That's weird.
that's her Mister.
That can't be right.
That's her morstress.
This is we're having a rough go with things, guys. Please tell us what's going
I
on.
think it's a rough go. I think I'm nailing it.
Oh.
I'm very happy.
Well,
with
no,
my
and I think that it's really funny. I mean, just juxtaposed to what I know from Catholicism, you could take that same thing to penance and
say 5 Hail Marys and a couple of
And
Lord's
you're
prayers,
good.
and you're fine.
Yep.
I don't know why he's Irish. When I hear Catholic, I think Irish Catholic.
that's fine. Yeah.
But again, it gives us a little bit more info on Monica. I'm liking Monica thus far. I think she has a bright future if she can. It's gonna
I
be.
don't know. I
here's
think it's
what-
kind of tough to like Monica after hearing that, though.
Oh, I know.
I think she's like as
I
far as
think-
what I've seen on the show, I like it, but we talk about people's infidelities all the time. We're like, all right, you're kind of a piece of shit.
no, totally.
Monica's kind of a piece of shit.
But again, it goes back to like the Jen thing, whereas like I don't have an issue with Jen. She's upfront and honest. Do I trust Jen? No. Do I trust Monica? No. Am I saying she's a great person? No. But at the same time, people can grow and change. And at least like the thing for me with everybody on these casts, self-awareness and honesty are two big like
Yeah, I
positives
would
for
say
me.
the
And the
same
fact
thing,
that
yeah.
she's not like hiding behind it
Yeah.
and trying to spin a different narrative. She just flat out says, this is what happened. Doesn't
sure.
say for better or worse. It's like, this is the info. And I like that. So I'm
Heather was literally floored.
I know,
Like
I
she
think
fell.
I was too.
Yeah.
Like I told you I let out an audible,
Irritable.
oh my god.
Yeah, Heather went down right away. And I love the follow-up line too, where Monica says, you thought you were a bad Mormon. How about me? Hey, all right, good tie into
Yeah,
this
see,
book.
she's funny,
It's
man.
funny, and I think we're just kind of seeing, removing the whole infidelity out of it because that's a bad thing. It's deplorable.
It's awful,
But
horrible.
on screen, it's good to see some growth. I
Good
like
to
it.
see growth, but here's my thing. I think she's walking. When I said I like her thus far, I like her as a housewife or friend. Is she she's friend of
She's a full housewife.
full time?
Yeah.
Okay, so I like her as a housewife. I think that she is going to take one of two paths, and I think she's on almost at the fork in the road. I think she has a chance to be very likable and relatable, or I think she has a chance to be insufferable and a bad addition. And I think that I've seen both evidence of both, and that's when they're in the Sprinter van on the way from the airport after Lisa loses her $60,000 ring. Allegedly,
That thing got flushed.
no, it didn't. Somebody found it and put it in their pocket.
No, she flushed it. I'm fully convinced. She said she was pulling her jeans back up and it fell off. I think it went right in the toilet and it flushed.
Automatic flush. It's Palm Springs, so it's definitely an automatic toilet.
It has to be.
It's not the Dallas airport where half the toilets don't work.
Well, the Dallas toilet is in the Cowboy store. We know that.
Yeah, I post it every time I go down there. But when they're on the Sprinter van, Lisa's going over the value of the ring, and she's so upset that she lost the ring, and she calls her jeweler to replace it. Monica's giving little one-liners of like, I don't have a jeweler, like, and not belittling herself, but just speaking from a place of like, I don't have the money you guys
Yeah.
do. And there's two sides to it. There's one side where I'm like, haha, I like that you're being honest about this. And it's
I didn't
kinda
really
funny.
care for it.
The other side of it is you're not coming off great.
Yeah.
It's not Lisa's fault that she does well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I hate when people talk down to people that have money.
Yeah.
On the flip side, I do not care for people that want to talk shit to someone just because, like, Lisa's not, Lisa. She's
I
not
know, but
flaunting
she
it
was.
intentionally.
I think she might have been. She said
Oh.
60,000 like 7 times.
Oh, well, maybe
You
then.
know what? Like if you say it once in like a panic or twice maybe, and you're looking for it and you're like, fuck, like that's a lot of money, and somebody asks and you answer, that's fine. But now we're in the Sprinter van and it's like 20 minutes later, and yes, you're still freaking out and you're talking about calling your jeweler. You don't need to keep saying that it was a $60,000 ring. She says it
agree
like
with
3 or
that.
4 times in a
I
row.
agree with
So
that.
it does get to the point where you're like, all right, we fucking get it. You got money. Relax.
Maybe it's this. Maybe
I think I just
I-
talked myself into this actually
I
right
think-
now.
I
I think
think
I'm fine with it.
I get where she's coming from.
Yeah.
And it's warranted, but it's not the best look. How
Right.
about that?
Okay.
Do we agree on that?
We can
It
agree.
doesn't make her look great, but I get where she's coming
For
from.
the sake of the birds, we can agree.
For the sake of the birds, we can agree. Yeah. And we'll wrap this up. Mary had a couple of great moments here, obviously calling the Trixie Motel and asking for a very specific 03 bottle of Dom Perignon. When they say they don't have that, she says they don't have Dom.
The eyes
period.
popped out of her head. Love that.
She was like baffled. But at the same time, they didn't say they don't have Dom. They don't have 03 Dom.
I don't think they have any Dom.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
It looks like they're gonna party down there. I would stay at that motel.
I was
no
going to say that
heartbeat.
the motel looked like a pink version of the one in Crappy Lake.
I think that's insulting to the Trixie Motel a little bit.
Maybe a little
I
bit.
think that they put a lot of time and effort into this motel.
Possibly.
And they just now redid the Crappy Lake Motel
Yeah.
via, wow.
Uh-huh.
I think you might. Anyway, I will say that I like, and I'm going to continue to like, and then that wraps up the episode. But Mary's so great simply because when Lisa's talking about the $60,000 ring, we're all thinking the same thing. Like 60, that's all. I mean, come on, that's a lot of money for a ring. And Mary's like, that ring's not worth 60,000. I'm like, thank you, Mary.
Thanks, Mary. It's not. It's probably worth like 35 and you valued it at
Yeah, which
60
is
with your
okay.
insurance, which is what everybody does. And
It's
it's okay.
We're not.
But don't
pointing
tell everybody
fingers.
that it's a $60,000 ring.
Yeah, and don't
It's 15 times.
don't double, triple, quadruple emphasize it. Look, love Lisa. I'm
You
just
love
saying.
Lisa. It's
I'm
okay.
just saying. All right, she got back to us, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
She
Yeah.
left me on red,
Saw that.
and I was a little upset. I was going to take one or two directions. I was either going to be sarcastic. Instead, I went with, they say that you get more bees with honey than vinegar. So I said, even though you left us on red, we still love you. And she responded and said that her next few weeks are nuts, but we'll be in touch. So
All right, that
hopefully
works
we
for
get
me.
her on.
I also, one last Mary comment. When Monica offered Lisa some chips and she reached over and gave her a
Yeah,
chip.
don't do that.
Don't do that. Don't get chip crumbs on me.
I don't like crumbs.
I don't want crumbs.
Uh,
All right, fair enough, Mary.
yeah.
You're
know
right.
what?
You're right.
You know what,
You're
Mary?
right.
Nobody likes
Yep,
crumbs.
you are right.
Just ask Dev. I
She's
try
just
for
speaking
nuts
for all of us.
crumbs because I cook in the kitchen, for like
Yeah,
bodybuilders or
crumb bum.
whatever. Well, like the floor, we have the vinyl plank flooring, which is fantastic, by the way. Looks like hardwoods, but water resistant and easy to clean. But when little crumbs get on them and you step on them, like you can really feel the
Crunch.
crumbs.
Yeah.
And so it like drives her crazy. So, and she's gonna kill me for saying this, but she gets down. She's not like, we own a vacuum, we own a full size broom. Dev loves her dustpan and brush.
She just goes around individual crumbs.
Dude, she will get on the floor on all
It's a
fours.
good way. It's not a bad way to do
It's a
it.
very effective
Very,
way.
yeah, very effective.
It's just like she's gonna fucking murder me. But she'll call me like on the phone, or I'll call her like when I'm leaving the gym to like
Yeah.
check in. And I'm like, "What's up?" And you just hear like, I'm clearly on speaker, and I hear what? I'm like, "Dude, put it down for 2 seconds." She's like, "I can't put it down because you cooked all this food. You didn't sweep the floor." And I'm like, "You're right. But I'm just calling to check in. I want to see how your days go." I'll talk to you later. I'm like, "Okay, bye."
Oh my god.
But here we go with some questiones. This is a good one because we just talked about this before the show. From Shauna Draper 27. Are you related to Don Draper? Ha ha ha. What do you think of the Roni reunion seating chart, aka Bravbros power rankings? Nice job. That way to shoehorn in power rankings.
Yeah, that's a pretty good way to shoehorn in the power rankings.
Oh, we got like 3 questions about that.
Yeah, right. I think we're okay with it, honestly. Steele and I kind of talked through it. For those of you that don't know, we've got Jessel and Aaron are
Aaron are-
sitting in the front. Then we've got Bryn and Jenna in the middle, and we have Sai and Uba at the end. I talked myself into it. At first, when I saw Jessel up front, I was questioning
I like
it,
to
but
think I talked you into it, but
yeah, probably. Steele talked me into this.
yeah.
Fully talked me into this, and yeah, I agree with it. I think it's fine.
Yeah, because Aaron and Jessel have been involved in most of the shit this season.
Yes.
I think that Aaron's taken the most shit, and I think that Jessel's put her foot in her mouth the most. Jenna is in the middle because you just can't put Jenna at the end. I don't think.
That's what I was thinking too. If you put Jenna at the end, she's not going to talk the entire time.
Right.
So I'm in between thinking like, yeah, if you put her in the middle, you might get a little bit more out of her. Maybe she's a little more comfortable. I might even say put Jenna all the way up front and shuffle her with Jessel, and then put Bryn
You
next to
could
Aaron,
do
maybe
that.
just to make Jenna talk more. Because if she's next to Andy, she's going to have to talk more.
Mm-hmm.
If she's on the end, she's not going to offer a word.
Bryn at the end will still talk.
Yes.
And Sai for me, well, I think she's an integral part of this cast, and I think she's done a great job this year as far as like substance, like involved in the shit going on. Like she will start shit as far as leaving the party and stuff,
Yeah.
but she doesn't give a shit. So I think I don't know. That's where I'm like, yeah, she can sit on the end. I don't think that I think, and then we can move on. You could interchange a lot of them, and it's still.
I think
okay.
that's the main thing.
You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
can move
It's
them
still
all
it's
around.
so early on. I think that, like you said, wherever you put Bryn, she's going to talk. So wouldn't mind Bryn being on the end just so you have more people closer, so they'll talk a little bit
think
more.
You could literally mix it up however you want,
Yep.
and I wouldn't have an issue with
Yeah.
it. Up next, last one actually, from AJ Talarico. Thoughts on the Winter House trailer? And we actually got someone asked us a question about this last week, and I'm gonna answer exactly what I said in the comment. What do you think of the cast? I like a lot of the people on the cast on their own respective shows. We have yet to witness a Winter House season that we've been wowed by or even like overly entertained by. So that's where we are as far as like, yeah,
It's tough when a show is 6 episodes long and we think it's too long.
right. You know what I mean?
You know what I mean? Like,
after,
and I get it. Like, it's a place filler. It gives these people something to do in the off season, if you will, and you wanted to throw it out there during like a non-busy time. Sure.
episode 1 and 2 is usually enjoyable because it's like, oh, this is different. It's funny to see these people like party for a little bit. And then after that, I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
The drama's not going to
Yeah,
continue.
like Lindsay
after
and Carl
this.
aren't going to be there. You're just going to get Kyle and Amanda, who seem fine because
And,
they're
like,
actually
Tom
married
Schwartz
and
will
they're
be
good.
interesting to see a little bit, but you know he's not going
Yeah.
to give you that much.
And then the new people are always question marks, but it's so hard for a new person to thrive on a show like that because for the most part, they're just looking to hook up.
Yeah.
And then they get shacked up with Corey or whoever. And it's
Well,
just
Corey's
the whole,
with
yeah, Corey's still with Sam, but I don't know. I'm not looking forward to it. I don't really care for it as a show.
yeah, no, we're on the same boat. Actually, last one here, just because this is really funny. From RSC Jen 28. Does Shooter ever have anything to add at the end of the show when you ask him? No,
No,
not
really.
yet. No, he really
Honestly,
hasn't.
we sit here for like an hour and a half. We talk it all out. So by the end,
When I ask
I
him,
got nothing.
he's good because we air out all of our grievances.
We certainly do. Although I will have something to add. I am bricked up for the birds, baby.
Yeah, bringing it back. I am too. We're both here bricked up. It's Birds Day. We're not going to keep you guys any longer. Follow us on our socials at Brav_Bros and YouTube at Bravbros Podcast. And keep an eye out for a potential live show, ... in a different location, ...
Heyo.
Go Birds. Anything else?
Nope.
Go Birds.